Welcome to this journey of me about to face one of my fears that I've had for a very long time, and that is getting on a plane to travel. Now, this isn't my first time being on a plane, but this is the first time that I can remember. The first time I had no idea where I was. All I knew was that I was with my mom and my big sister, so I was fine. So this time was a bit different. We're on our way for a day trip to Miami. Going there and coming back in the same day seemed kind of overwhelming to me when I began to overthink. The ride to the airport for me was like a buildup of anticipation. At this point was where I began to really think about flying 33,000 feet in the air. Me thinking about that now is actually kind of sickening, to be honest. Man, I'm nervous as heck. Nervous. After rushing through the airport, it was now time to step onto the plane. My sister was in another seat a few rows ahead of me, so being around that many people that I didn't know in an unfamiliar environment, all while I was skeptical about this flight, was an uncomfortable feeling. I had no other choice at this point. There was no turning back. Now I'm proceeding to say a prayer and ask my spiritual team to protect me as they always do. Amen. Now the plane is officially taking off and I'm a little nervous. The turbulence was definitely something that made my blood pressure rise, but not something that I haven't heard of before, so I was still okay. After stepping off of the plane and onto land, I realized that airplanes aren't really that bad. And I actually started to feel like I was scared for nothing, to be honest. There's so many things that we haven't experienced but prejudged how we will feel before we even try it. And then when we try it, depending on how we felt before we got there, whether it was low or whether it was high, we realized it wasn't even all that. It wasn't even all that we've made it out to be. It's actually an interesting observation. So we officially made it. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Yes sir. Y'all, this is my first time seeing a palm tree in real life. So we were picked up by one of my cousins down there, spent some time with them while we were there. And while we were there, the flight that was originally set for 7:30 was delayed until 9. Okay, that was cool. Wasn't such a big deal because, it was raining and maybe they just wanted to be safe. Another hour goes by and the flight gets delayed to 11:30. Alright, that's cool too. Another hour, the flight gets delayed to 12. Now that was a little shaky, but it seemed okay. Felt like this could possibly be the last day, considering that there was no news for about 2 hours or so. So we go into the airport, we go through TSA, get checked in and all that, and as we're waiting by the gate to get onto the plane, on the screen, the flight to go back home changes from 12 to 9:30 a.m. So the worst thing happened throughout the entire time that we were here for this one day, since 2 p.m. to almost until it was time for us to get on the plane. They kept delaying the plane, right? It was pushed back from 7 to 8, and then 9 and 11, and then it went to 12. And when we got here, it was still at 12. But while we were waiting for 12 to come, while we were waiting for the clock to turn 12, the flights got pushed back. The flight to New York got pushed back to 9:40. And it is now 2:13 a.m. and we have to wait here till 9:40 in the morning to leave. And they're not offering any hotels. And everything is closed. There's no food. This is my experience of my first time flying in 14 years. And the worst part about it, they didn't even provide us with anything to make us feel comfortable, nor did they give us a straight answer as to why the plane was being delayed for 11 hours. What a journey! 11 hours later, we finally get on the plane and we were tired. Thankfully, there wasn't that many people on the flight. I guess because it was originally a late night flight, I don't know, but it definitely gave us more room to be comfortable. So we began to take off. All before all of that happened, like I said, I was perfectly fine with getting back on the plane. I felt like all my nervousness was gone. I was cool. Until we took off and there was so much turbulence. More than last time. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so scary. And plus before that, I kept seeing the angel numbers 444 and 44, so I knew that I was protected. Felt like that was my spiritual team preparing me for that moment because whew. I didn't panic because everyone else seemed to be fine. Like this was the normal, so I just calmed myself down. Something I remember realizing was that a car is just as dangerous as a plane. The only difference is that a plane is 33,000 feet in the air. And also that one of the main reasons I felt safer in a car rather than a plane was because in a plane I couldn't see what was going on around me, as opposed to being in a car where you have the front windows, the side windows, and the back windows. So I decided to open a window to give myself a peace of mind and see and enjoy the beautiful view. This part of the journey reminds me of there being ups and downs in everything. Good parts and not so good parts. But the not so good parts are all about whether we hold on, pull through, and not panic. So we finally land, and although I was a bit dissatisfied with my visit to Florida because I genuinely believe that that place is haunted and I would not recommend, I was satisfied with the experience of flying and the lessons that I learned on this trip. Something that this trip made me realize and experience and actually get to live in it was that fear is another form of bondage. And to be in bondage is to be restricted of freedom. If we don't take a leap of faith, have courage, and face our fears head on, we would never be free. One of the things that I wish to do down the line is to travel the world and experience the beautiful earth that was meant for us. Because I truly believe that that is what we were made to do. I used to think that being settled in one place and doing one thing was the way that life should be lived, because that was always what I saw, until I've realized that experiencing areas and places outside of what I'm used to frequently personally fills me up and makes me feel free. And I'm glad that I got to face my fears and take you all along this journey with me. I hope that this inspires you all to do the same. Thank you for watching.